and welcome back to another episode of the You Were Made to Thrive podcast. We are so excited that you are here today listening, and we are here on this February day. Clearly, it's winter for both of us where we live, weather. So today we thought it would kind of be a fun conversation to have. How we go, like our views on winter, how we get over, the dreaded winter slump that I think most people who live in at least the northeastern part of the country and experience, snow and somewhat cold weather can relate to that feeling or that season in the winter. So, and then also how we kind of go about getting over that winter slump and what activities we try to find joy in during these winter months. So to start off, Christina, would you share what it's like, what winter is like for you, kind of what you enjoy doing or not so much enjoy?
Yeah. Winter is a complicated time for me, to put it nicely. My birthday's in winter. I'm a December baby. So obviously there's definitely things to look forward to this time of year. There's the holidays, slowing down for work. I always take part of the winter off, in December. And then you come back to work with the new year and all the things, and it's great until it starts to feel like a lot again. And it's cold here. I'm in Virginia, so we do get an actual winter. We get snow, although this year we haven't really gotten any. We had some flurries this morning, actually, but nothing worthwhile. So it's kind of pointless at that point, but that's fine, Mother Nature. I like the snow. I like the cold, sort of. I really don't like the winter because I'm not comfortable outside, and I like to be outside. I like to get the fresh air and the sunlight. And I know you can still go out in the winter. Of course, most people do, obviously. I'm just not one of those people. I don't like being in a big coat. I don't like being all bundled up. I like my sweaters and my sweatshirts and all that kind of stuff, like cozy, like the cozy feelings, but I do not like being cold. I don't like it at all. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody does, but like, I really don't like it. I'm telling you. I don't like wearing socks. So like having to wear them all winter long is like my personal hell. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, this is legitimately, like, this is stuff that like makes me angry. As soon as like Thanksgiving rolls around, I'm like over it. Like, I don't want any part of this. I think for me, the hardest part about the winter is just, it's gloomy, like even on the days where it's sunny, air quotes, it's like, it's cloudy and it's like, yeah, it looks great outside until you step outside and it's like 30 degrees and your nose falls off. It's like, I just don't enjoy it. I don't like having to wait for my car to warm up. I don't like any of it. Like, it's just not my thing. And it's funny because I know you and I always joke about like, me moving up to Ohio to be closer to you, but like, this is why I cannot, because I cannot handle the cold and the snow and I don't drive in it. I don't like shoveling it. I don't like it. It's just not an enjoyable time for me. And I think those gloomy days can be really difficult for me mentally. And it's not even, I mean, I do have depression, so that worsens a lot over the winter months because I can't get the fresh air. I'm not getting exercise the same way. Like, I like to work out. I like to go on walks and runs. And again, I can do those things in the winter. It's just not enjoyable. And so I'm at the point where like, if I'm not going to really like it, I'm not going to do it. So I'm mad, so winter's hard for me. I try to get as much natural as I can. I'm like, windows are, blinds are open, all that kind of stuff. If it does get over like 55 degrees, I try to open up the windows for fresh air. I feel like for me, the winter's hard too, because everything just feels so stale, I mean, there's lots of good things, obviously, we're inside more, like we're together more. I do like being cozy. Like, I'm a big like blanket person. Like, and I like all of those actual things, but I mean, to me, it's miserable. It's pretty much miserable. Obviously we had good snow day memories as a kid and things like that. Yeah. Obviously I enjoyed that kind of stuff, but once you're an adult, it just hits differently. So yeah, I don't particularly like winter. I like what it symbolizes, and I'm gonna let you talk more about that because you said it so beautifully when we were chatting about this earlier. But I also, realistically, I am not somebody who rests. Like, I don't do well with that. And so for me, the idea of like this whole season where like it's okay to just is somewhat stressful and to me, like, because I just am not good at it naturally. And so it's like very difficult for me to slow down. So in some ways the season is also difficult because it's like my natural urge, I think, is like most of us is like to kind of like hibernate. And most of me is like not that way. So it's kind of like this weird tension point for myself. Anyway, that sounded all really bad and really like I was complaining. But I just don't really like it. You know, I don't like coats. I don't like the cold. I don't really like snow that much. It's pretty to look at, but it's really problematic in a lot of ways. And I like grew up in a place where if it snowed, like we weren't leaving the house. Like we were on back roads that didn't get plowed, you know. And so I think that's also part of why I'm just like the world shuts down, and if it's gonna shut down and that's the kind of day we're getting on a winter day, like I'm cool with it. But like otherwise it's just more of an inconvenience to me. So I think that's part of why I don't like it. And I don't really like what it does to me mentally. It really is difficult for me. The light, the lack of light, just the lack of like the vitamin D, I'm sure like, chemically is not good for me. Yeah, so that's winter for me. That was a lot of really sad, depressing rambling, but that's the truth. So now y'all know it. As someone who lives in Ohio now and who gets a real winter, you want to talk about a real winter. What is it like for you, both actually as a season, but like mentally and physically for yourself?
So winter, I don't know, it's kind of like one of these weird seasons where I do sort of enjoy it.
Mhm.
And I also dread it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's certain activities that that I enjoy in the summer and stuff that we cannot do. We cannot go boating right now. Like, we cannot go and enjoy, like you said, the sunshine and those types of things in the same way.
Mhm.
So obviously I miss those aspects, but I do really find peace in the wintertime. And I don't know, I can't really explain it other than it's just like the season of rest kind of. I'm not saying that I'm very good at resting, but I kind of like the slower pace of life that it brings. Um, the kids usually aren't in much sports after January. Um, we don't have as many places that we need to be, and so it just kind of our pace of life just slows down, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm still doing all the things, and I might not be resting as much as I want to or need to, but I just like the pace of life that
Mhm.
we're at. We get to enjoy a little bit more family time in the evenings because we're not rushing off to sports, and because soccer starts in like April, and usually it's not, as they're getting older the schedules are getting more intense.
Yeah.
Um so and I'm not even like in middle school sports yet, so like I can't imagine. Like I know it's going to get worse once they hit travel. um but I don't know, I look forward to that kind of inward reflection period, all of that stuff. I feel like in the winter I myself personally do a lot of growth inwardly, like a lot of
Mhm.
reflection and just mindfulness of like what I want to bring to life in the upcoming months, in the upcoming year. So I don't know, for me winter is kind of this weird tug of war in my like enjoyment, but also like it's crappy outside, and there are days I definitely kind of like I could use some like 70-degree weather right now.
Yeah.
um, but I also think that there are days here that it's not so bad. Like today it's cold, but it's sunshine and it's beautiful out.
Mhm.
We definitely have like some negative 20-degree days that are miserable, and we don't leave. But on the flip side, I don't mind bundling up and going outside and trying to get out there when it's a normal temperature, even if it's cold.
Mhm.
I am not. I would rather be cold than hot. I don't do well in temperatures above 90. I I'm not nice. I don't like to sweat. I don't like it. And that's my inner struggle is I don't necessarily love the winter and the activities and stuff like that. Like I'd prefer the summer activities, but I also I would rather be cold than really, really hot. I don't think I would ever live in a place that gets like 100-degree weather constantly. That's
Yeah.
not for me. I would rather be in the air conditioning. So
No, and that is fair. And I guess I should point out, yeah, I guess that's true. I think when I think of winter, my initial gut is kind of like the holidays, which can be really just overwhelming at times. But there definitely is a lull. I'm sorry if you just heard my dog stretch out, the foster dog stretch out. I should say my dog, but she's a foster. We haven't even talked about that on here. We're fostering a dog, by the way. But anyway, she just stretched out on the ground next to me. So if you heard that weird yawning sound, it was her, not me. Anyway, there is definitely a difference in like the holiday winters and the post-holiday like winter vibes. And I think that may also be part of it is, because I come out of the holidays and I'm still kind of on a break, not having to worry about a lot of stuff. And then it's like you come back and like the first part of the winter after the holidays is just like, it's New Year, like good luck. And it's just kind of a lot. And honestly, like I've not really been somebody who's ever done a lot of like resolutions or like yearly goals until the last like year or two. So I think that's also been something different. Like now, I guess that has helped a little bit to kind of think about what I want. You know, for so long, it was really just surviving, like getting through and like hoping we stayed afloat. So I think I should clarify that some of my disdain for winter has lessened over the years with some of those changes, but I really feel like I sounded like a Grinch there. But there is definitely a difference when you mention like after the holidays. There's definitely a difference here, you know, too. Like we're not doing as much. I haven't done a show in that time frame, so it's like quieter. I'm home more. Some of those things. So there's nice things about the winter too, to be clear. But you just when you said that, it's just like, yeah, I guess I should be clear. There is a difference between holiday winter nuts feelings and non-holidays. So
Yeah, because I think when I look at my year, I enjoy. It's almost like I get to press like a mini pause button on certain things, and I personally just really enjoy it because I just feel like time slows down just a hair, and I'm enjoying a little bit more quiet time in the evenings with my kids and my husband. And not that we don't have fun and good times in the summer, we definitely do, but it's just a quicker pace of life. There's always something to go do, something that we want to, go see or whatever. And it's busy, and
yeah.
it's almost like I can't catch my breath sometimes because it's just the pace of life picks up. And so that's kind of what I mean by like, I just enjoy, I feel like I can breathe again a little bit and kind of take some time and just organize my thoughts a little bit more. So yeah, I enjoy that aspect of winter a lot, actually.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. And I think it's true. I think a lot of people feel that way. I know there is kind of that lull, but after many busy months, so many of us need that. And I think that's interesting. Cause I know you and I talk about this too. Like there's moments where those like this quieter winter season kind of reminds me of like the pandemic life when we were all quarantined, like where you couldn't do anything and you were really forced to slow down. And I like that. And I think for me, sometimes I struggle with that. I like it, but it's not permanent. And then I'm also like, but I have the ability to make it permanent. And like, I'm not very good at that. So I think that's also part of it too, for me. It's like, I know it's going to end. I know it's going to pick up again. And sometimes that anticipation can kind of like the Sunday scaries. It kind of ruins the day when you're worrying about what's going to happen Monday, I think I find that sometimes is true for me, the winter, like looking ahead at spring even already. So, yeah, I think that could be tricky for the winter.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite things to do in the winter?
Yeah. I like to read. I mean, I find that for me, that's always something I do challenge myself to do every year, is just to read a little bit more than the previous year. And Kara, if you're listening to this, shout out. My friend Kara and I, we always do, well, not always, it's been 3 years now, is our third year doing a reading challenge. So we took the Pop Sugar like yearly challenge and kind of broke it down. Anyway, this is such a side note, but anyway, so I always kind of try to read more. Like I think, harking back to that, like it's a little bit slower, a little more time. That's something I do. I do read a lot more books in the winter months, and then as things get busy, I don't read as much. I still read, but not as many books or as many pages. So definitely reading. We got a Nintendo Switch last year, actually, thanks to Kara again. That was her fault. My friend Michael, and my friend Cody too. But we got a Switch, and I think in the last few months, I've really enjoyed kind of giving myself quiet time in the evenings. I play what is it, Dreamlight Valley? It's a Disney game. It's so dorky. It's not so dorky to say that out loud, but I do play that. But like getting to just kind of slow down and like get under a blanket or like get in my bed and like snuggle up a little bit and like play that for a little bit to kind of wind down has been nice. And just reminding myself that it's okay to do that even if it is the spring or like warmer outside. But doing it in the winter has been nice. It's kind of curling up. I think I'm better at giving myself, not great, but I think I'm better at giving myself downtime during the winter months too. And I've recently started watercolor painting. So that's been kind of fun to do as well. It's a nice little indoor out activity, although I could do it outside. I might in the summer, it might be nice to like take it out in the evenings, but that's been kind of nice. I just get to come up in my office and I have a separate little desk that I can do art projects or whatever I need on. And I've done that a couple weeks now. David and I have actually been painting together. I mean, he doesn't do watercolors by any means, but you know, it's kind of fun to slow down. And I think I bake a little bit more during the winter too. So that's always good. I think those are kind of the big ones for us. I mean, as a family, like we just try to get back to like having our movie nights, and because you know our schedules aren't as busy, so we can actually be together on like a Friday or Saturday night. Because when I'm doing shows, I'm not home those nights, so that makes it tricky. But like doing things like that, I think can be really nice too for us in the winter. But yeah, and then obviously when it snows and we go out and we do the snowman and all that stuff, but it's just not my favorite thing. But yeah, so anyway, I think that kind of stuff helps, just things that are going to allow me to focus and quiet down both like mentally and physically are always really good. So, and I still do my workouts and stuff like that too. That always helps with some of the mental slump of the winter. But yeah, as far as like fun activities, it's kind of what I like to do. So, what about you?
So mine would probably be the same as far as reading goes. Because of like this like slower pace of life, I feel like I have a little bit more time. So I try to read more in the winter just in case I don't get as much time in the summer months, because usually that's when I start lacking. So yeah, I definitely read a lot. The kids and I do more puzzles and more games, and I enjoy that aspect of it. Other than that, I also feel like I cook more in the winter, and
Yeah.
I like to cook. It is stressful at times trying to figure out what to eat, but you know, at its core, I do like to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really good at cooking or planning to what I'm gonna make in the summer months, because it is like hotter, and it's just I don't feel like there's as many options, because we don't want to eat soup and, you know, things that are easy for me to do on a busy day.
Yeah.
A little bit more tricky for me anyway. So I enjoy like cooking and trying out new recipes and just those home cooked meals.
Yeah.
um, I should mention too, like I'm a natural homebody. So there's nothing I love more than a day that I don't have to leave the house. So that's probably another aspect of winter that I really like, because it's a little bit more, you know, there's not as much to do outside or
Yeah.
to go. So I enjoy just being at home, taking on, we usually do home projects a lot in the winter
Mhm.
because there's nothing else to do outside. So that has kind of been, haven't really have a major project going on right now, which is the first time in I think 3 or 4 years, actually
Yeah.
4 or 5 years, I think. The past 4 or 5 years, our winters have been home remodeling. We've redone our basement, a bathroom, kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
living room, hallways, like all the things. So, and I love home renovations.
She does.
Like if I could get a job on HGTV being a designer, I would do it. Like I love it. Also, I will demo anything. Um, seriously. Um, honestly, that is one of the things I look forward to. Like me and my husband, we work really well together doing those projects. It's really
Yeah.
fun for so I've always looked forward to that. It's just kind of one of those things we've been redoing so many parts of our house. We don't really have a whole lot left that we're planning right now.
Yeah.
So in the years past, that has been kind of an enjoyable time for us, is like just kind of put the kids to bed and then start working or whatever project we're doing, and it was fun. But other than that, other than that, I think that's really it. Other stuff I enjoy doing, I do in the other months too. It just looks different. Like working out, my workouts look different in the winter than they do in the summer.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that that's bad. Sometimes I like focusing in the winter a little bit more on my strength training and stuff, because it's not as nice for me to go out and run and those types of things. So
Yeah.
kind of like that balance of right now I am focusing a lot more on my strength training and those things. So those are kind of all my winter activities.
Yeah. No, I love that. While you were talking, I thought about something else that I tend to do that isn't necessarily fun, but I do find that I the last few years especially it's been something that I've really had to do during the winter, and that is I have picked up therapy again. Sometimes, and I'm the first to admit it, I will fall off of my like bi-weekly appointments, just scheduling or the way my therapist schedule works versus mine, things just kind of, go off, not off the rails, but it becomes something that gets pushed and pushed and pushed till it stops being on the calendar. And it's right around the holidays, at least the last few years, where I've noticed that I'm ready to or I want the extra support. I'm ready to go back, whatever, however you want to look at it. And so that's something I do a lot in the winter too. And that's one of those things that, we talk about self-care. We talk about all these fun things that we do for ourselves. When it's slower outside, when it's colder outside and all those things. And this is one of those things that I think is self-care. It's definitely self-care. It's not the fun, glamorous self-care everybody wants to talk about, but sometimes doing things like that are really important in hard seasons, whether that's like a physically hard season for you or mentally, emotionally. I know that I have a tendency to slip into a more depressive state in these months. So knowing that I have that extra support can really kind of help me feel a little more buoyant between everything going on. Because I really do find, like, I've noticed even the last few months, not months, but last few weeks here, through like mid to end January, I have really struggled. Like mentally, I've really struggled. I've had some really, really dark and hard days. And so just acknowledging that, and acknowledging that it's a hard season for me and that's okay is really important. And finding the resources that I need has been really important. So I just want to put that out there. Like, if this all sounds great, but the winter is really a source of struggle for you, whatever that means for you, like, just another encouragement to find the resources that are beneficial. If that's a therapy session, if it's someone to talk to online, whatever it is, if it's just reading more, or like having that time at home, if that's enough for you, then that's awesome. But like, not being afraid of taking care of yourself. But just remembering that, like, self-care doesn't mean just like the manicures and the pedicures and like reading in a bubble bath and all those fun things. Like, those are great things to do to help recharge your batteries. But sometimes self-care is the hard things, like pushing yourself to do a workout on the day where it's rainy and -5 degrees, or calling your therapist, or making a homemade recipe instead of ordering pizza or whatever. So just reminding yourself that even in these months that feel harder, like, taking care of yourself still matters, and self-care still matters, and like the hard stuff still matters. I guess is the best way to put it. So I want to throw that out there as somebody who does actually experience like a very deep decline in mood in these months, and not just like, I don't like the cold, but like, I actually feel and struggle with the depression that comes with these darker months. I just want to encourage you, if you're somebody that is like that too, like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to find the support that works for you. So just a little piece of encouragement from me to you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up. I know a lot of people, the winter months are hard. And it's very common to get that winter slump and mark of depression. And there's like, absolutely find the resources and the things that are going to help you through that. And I think therapy is something we can all benefit from.
Yes, 100%. As someone who is going to be a therapist in the future, I completely agree. I think side conversation here, but like, so many people think that therapy is something you do when you're struggling. And the reality is that so many of us need therapy when we're not struggling. It's just learning better strategies and better tools and better ways we can help ourselves and be more resilient and empower ourselves to make the decisions we want to make. So anyway, all I'd say, go find a therapist. This is your sign. Ding, ding, ding. But I'm laughing, but it is serious, and it is hard. And I don't think I fully realized how difficult these months were till I was in college. And that was, so I've been dealing with this for a while now. And I just feel like, especially postpartum, the hormones, I mean, we talked about this before in other episodes, like the hormones are even more out of whack. And so I think this is something, the struggle has gotten even harder in the last like 5 years since I've had my son too. So again, just a little note of encouragement if you're also somebody who struggles like that, definitely take all of the fun and lighthearted self-care things to heart, but like, truly do the work that's going to benefit you the most, whether that's therapy or whatnot. So anyway.
Like, and recognize, like, I know I am not by any means or any stretch of the imagination an extroverted person. And I see though that these times can be very isolating, and just the more withdrawn people are because of the temperatures or whatever, I can see how that would be much harder for someone with that type of personality, or just like that just thrives around people more than someone like me, who needs kind of like, I need like inward recharging and like time away to kind of refill my batteries. So I can see, definitely, I think anyone obviously can struggle during these months, but I can definitely see like the challenge that would bring for these isolating, quiet months.
Yeah.
Where people are mainly inside.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think a lot of us got a taste of what that's really like when we were all quarantined and in lockdown and things. So, it's just a reminder that the emotions that we had during that can still be happening, even though things might feel more open. I mean, these ones can be hard. And I think, yeah, I know a lot of people who do struggle with that, who are kind of extroverted and all of that. And I don't know for me if that's what it is or not, but I just find that these months are harder for me and for my depression. So it's just interesting to kind of see. I think for me, it's a lot of trying to come off of the end of a year, start a new year, and like feel like I'm doing what I need to. And I think also it's interesting, and I don't know if you feel this, because we're both achievers. We are both like very busy and motivated people, and I think I'm glad that people slow down and like have that time at this time of year. But for me, sometimes I think I get frustrated too, because I'm like, I need people to like do things again, to like get what I need to get. And I never want to take that away from somebody, but I think that could be like one of those moments where I'm just like, can we like start doing things again? And it's not meant to like I'm bored or anything. It's just like I just want to keep moving. And so I think it's kind of for me that like difficulty of like slowing down. And again, like we're spending a lot of time like in our homes, and there's things that like fill me with anxiety here, like things that are going on. So it's just a lot of emotions. But anyway, that's enough rambling about me. So
You're fine. No
well,
worries.
anyway, yeah, so I think just to kind of sum it up, I think that it comes down to like knowing what you need in this season, whether that's external help, whether that's just quiet time, whether that's the extra time reading in the evenings or making your favorite soups, or spending time with your family. I think it comes back to doing those things for yourself, and that's kind of how you push through to the lighter, better, not better, but the better days. Like these are literally like the actual darkest days of the year, right? Like in winter, like they are truly like the physically darkest days in the year. So like it's okay to feel like they kind of suck.
Some days they do. Like
They do.
I'm sorry, but negative 20 degrees is not fun for anyone.
Yeah, no, straight up. No. Not my thing. I mean, unless you're one of those people that like really loves your parka. I mean, but even still, like, that scene, what that makes me think, that scene in National Treasure where they're like at the beginning where they're looking for the Charlotte, and they're like in those massive vehicles in Antarctica at the South Pole or whatever, and they're like in those massive parkers. Like that's what I think of every time I think of like negative 20 degrees, like the big, the big fur, and like he's got like the glasses on. Oh my God, freaking Ian, whatever his name is. Ian, it is Ian. I think it's Ian. Anyway, that's what it makes me think of. Like negative 20 degrees. Yeah, so I think whatever it is, it's what helps you personally, seeking that out, focusing on that, and kind of at the same time remembering none of this is permanent unless you live in Antarctica, and then I don't know what to tell you. But I think that's what it comes down to with the winter slumps. So
Well, thank you all for tuning in today. And I hope that this episode was helpful to all of you and kind of take some time to reflect. And like Christina said, there's no shame in like getting help if you need some external help to kind of get through this winter season. And also look ahead, because before we know it, spring will be here and brighter days literally are ahead.